All right, here we go with a new episode of the Sloth Doctors. I am Dr. Chip.
I am Dr. Bob.
And today we have our first quasi-callers. They're calling in via Zoom, and we have, as guests today, James and Joe Graff. Joe Graff is the star of the Joe Graff podcast. And so say hello, guys.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about yourselves and your podcast and what you do.
Me personally, I'm just a fella, you know? I study good in school. I got straight A grades. I'm on the honor roll. I'm a Boy Scout. Overall, I'm not, considering myself to be a superior fella, but there's no doubt in saying that I take pride in my accomplishments, you know? So I'm going on this podcast sort of mostly because my dad told me to be here, but I'm going on this podcast to sort of see what's what and get a new, better perspective on the world, you know? I'm big about that perspective thing.
Hey, listening to your dad is also a sign of good sign of character. So I would add that to your list of attributes.
He's lying.
James, you want to plug your Doors project, James?
Which one? I was previously started and ended Crystal Ship, but now I'm in Doors Alive.
Right. I would say plug some gigs, but by the time this comes out, it will be irrelevant. So, but definitely look out for
it's coming up in Sharky's November 7th.
Okay, yeah, it'll be out before November. That's good.
Stewart Riverwalk on November 7th, and then we're at Sharky's on February 7th. I only know this because I'm in charge of the website.
There you go.
And do all the promos.
And I should mention, the only way we know each other is you used to come to the Cheers Jam Night every once in a while. That's where we met. That's the only place I really know you from, other than arguing with you on Facebook.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. But I've been doing Jam Nights since I went to Florida. I've been going to Florida since the 70s and 80s, but I moved there in 1990, and I joined Mardi Gras. We were doing the Jam Nights at, I want to say, Rock Solid. Is that what it's called? And then Rock Candy, and then Cheers, and then
right. Yeah, that's way back in the day. Yeah.
I joined Motor, and we were voted the best hard rock cover band and second best hard rock original band. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, I was going to say Motor's is that the 80s or 90s, right?
That's the 90s. It's 1991 to 94.
Right.
I played with Bertie Higgins, and we toured up and down the kind of the Riviera East Coast, opened up for the Beach Boys. I played with a guy named Dennis Yost, who was making records at the same time as the Doors.
Oh, no.
Dennis Yost in the Classic Four, Stormy and Spooky, and now I write books, and Joe writes books.
I also write books.
Oh,
I've only written so far.
Oh, I didn't know
he's
that.
the real one.
Oh, that's funny. We're going to have an author on it in a couple episodes. Do you guys write fiction, or what kind of books do you write?
I be writing science fiction. He just writes whatever sells.
So I wanted to ask the young Joe about what he thinks of the current situation, with Iran and that kind of thing. I mean, are you ready to march off to war, or what are your thoughts on that?
I am not going to die for Israel.
Good boy.
I do understand we've got to stop them from getting the bomb, right? I will be hugely in favor of like special forces mission or something like that stops Iran from getting the bomb, airstrike their nuclear center or something. But actually boots on the ground military occupation, that has never been good for us, you know?
Well, all I can say about that is they've been 2 weeks away from having the nuclear bomb for 25 years. So I think if they wanted a nuclear bomb, they'd have it by now.
Yeah, they've been as close to having a bomb as we've been to having fusion. It always seems to be just on the horizon, but it never really happens.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I think it only gets worse and worse. I guess I'm assuming that Mossad was on top of it, and they knew the exact right moment to strike, or Netanyahu needs to stay in office, and that's why they struck. We shouldn't be talking about these things. I want to first say that I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just here for fun and entertainment. I'm like Joe Rogan. It's all fun and entertainment.
Well, we're all about offending people on this show. We don't care.
And honestly, these are just opinions, and everybody has them. And the internet is where people go to share them.
Yeah, I mean, how are we ever going to get famous if we don't offend somebody?
At the end of the day, if you're offended by my opinions, what am I supposed to do about that? You know, I express myself.
Yeah, whether or not people take offense to things is entirely up to them as an individual. It's up to every one of us. And there's nothing wrong with being offended. That's part of life. Something most of us should learn to get used to at a young age. Sadly, not as many do.
So, James, am I correct in saying you're an economics graduate? You went to college for economics?
Well, here's the funny thing. I gave the University of Pennsylvania about $400,000 of my own hard-earned, well, not so hard-earned money, and I tried to get my degree in systems engineering and in economics with a concentration in finance from the Wharton School of Business. And I talked to the Wharton School of Business back in 1997, and I said, I have one internship left to get my engineering degree. Can I get my Wharton degree now? She said, no, you cannot. You must receive both degrees at the same time. So, but you can get your internship, you can finish your internship, or it's either an internship or an independent study, and you can do either one at any point in time in the future and come back and get both degrees. Now, having said that, I went back to them recently and said, I'm ready. And they said, no, we will never give you your degree. It's been too long.
So what would that degree make available for you if you were to get the degree?
Well, first of all, the only reason I was doing it was to become a high school teacher in New Jersey, which is, in my opinion, beneath me, but at least it gives me money, gives pension, gives me health care. It has its union. My wife works for Amazon. I would not work for a non-union company if you put a gun to my head.
And that seems like a lot to go through to be a school teacher.
Yes, it's insane. Because I know in Florida, I think if you're born, you're a school teacher. I think in Florida, that's the policy.
Yeah,
you can answer in English. You're a school teacher.
I was going to ask you if those were the books that you write. If you write books about economics, or if nonfiction sort of.
I've yet to write a book about economics, but I have written this book. I think you see it or not, but American history trivia, early American history trivia. I have a whole slew of books, and we can show you or not.
I don't think this is going to appear on the podcast. I think
will it or will it not?
Yes, we can see it, but unfortunately, it's the reverse image. But we'll put links in the description.
And we have a Baby Boomers trivia quiz. We have Acid Rock trivia quiz, Family Game. We have the Ultimate Horror trivia quiz book, which includes stories about my family's house, which is down the block from here, or was. This is Joe's book, which I helped him with the covers and the interior images. I also narrated that myself. This is my uncle's book. My uncle's book, New Jersey Multiple Municipal Madness. He ran for governor in '89, Charter governor. Anyway, that's Joe's spelling bee. He won this regional spelling bee. Blah, 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 blah.
Well, you guys stay busy, that's for sure. You guys, I'm not sure they're qualified to be on the show.
Right? That's far too much ambition.
You guys work
for
way too hard. This show is really about avoiding hard work, and you guys are definitely not that. You guys seem to be busybodies.
Oh,
something like that.
We avoid work. My famous statement is I wouldn't work at your pace. I've been saying that forever. When I was a little kid, I was like 5 years old. I said, "What do you want to be?" I said, "I want to be a mattress tester."
Nice.
and they're like, "Wow, this kid's either really, really lazy, or he's a pervert."
Hey, well, listen, the guy that invented the wheel was lazy. I mean, there's something. That's right. Laziness is the mother of invention, really.
Well, yeah, essentially all of technology is designed to make things easier. So I have a question for Joe. You said you wrote a science fiction book. Is it a standalone novel, or is it going to be part of a series or its own world?
So far, I've got out 2 short stories, right?
Right.
And we'll put the link to those stories in the description if y'all want to read them. I'm trusting those stuff to do that. But I am, at the moment, writing the first novel I'm hoping it's going to become a series of novels if people like it enough. But if that stuff is straight up bombs, I'm not writing any more of it, Because I got other ideas in my head. You know what I'm saying? No sense in my gonna fail.
What other can you name a couple of inspirations as far as sci-fi authors? I'm really into science fiction novels and fantasy novels too, so I'm curious who you used to read that got you into it.
What I used to read, my biggest inspiration so far has okay.
His father, I've been reading to him since he was literally first born. I've been reading him aloud to him. He's been reading aloud since before he was 1 year old.
Right.
That's all true. But at the end of the day, I think that it's best that the results speak for themselves. You know?
Yeah.
No
No, I'm
reason
just
to,
curious who some of your famous or who some of your favorite sci-fi authors were. That's all, really.
We got Pierce Brown, who wrote Red Rising. We got that Adrian Tchaikovsky fella. I only read one book of Adrian Tchaikovsky's, but it was so gash that like he's got to be a genius, right? We've got this other fella. I forget his name, but he wrote a book called Childhood's End that was really freaking good and really got me thinking. And then we got Asimov, because Asimov is the freaking goat.
Right,
like,
there you go. I knew eventually I was going to hear either Asimov or Heinlein.
She is better than Asimov. He is.
I'm not bad, but like I'm not better than that.
You should check out, if you haven't already, like some Philip K. Dick. That guy had an amazing knack for writing things that eventually got turned into movies. I tell you, he and Michael Crichton have probably sold more screenplays or had more movies based on their books than anybody else in the genre.
I think Last Stand of the Golems has to be made into a movie, so much so that I'm going to use AI and make it into something.
Right.
And hope
the Three Body Problem did really well. I think it was in Amazon or Netflix. I forget which one did it, but I mean, that's some pretty deep, heady science fiction right there. That's, much headier than Star Trek or something along those lines.
I never thought of the fact that you can actually now just take any book and say, hey, I'm making this into a movie.
We have the illustrations from the book. We use the illustrations and AI.
I never even thought of that. That's a brilliant application of it.
Yeah, once the AI gets just a little better and people get perfect at writing prompts, Hollywood's going to be in a lot of trouble.
At the end of the day, I don't really know where I stand on AI. Because like at the end of the day, like it's science, I'm in favor of science. I love science. But the way it takes the human out of the situation, like I feel like that could be just as easily a problem as it could be a solution.
Absolutely.
Because what will stop one evil fella from like coding a whole bunch of like AI robots to rule the freaking world for him? Like if I may speak politically here, historically, authoritarian regimes have fallen because the need for control is against human nature. Like authoritarianism is against human nature, and so people react hostilely toward it. But if it had an AI in the scenario, like AI freaking programs to like track the people, like that Palantir stuff. Donald Trump is making like that AI database with like Palantir or something.
Palantir, yeah.
To track the American people. Like that's the stuff that I'm scared of from AI. Using it as an authoritarian tool.
Drones are coming.
We have human powered drones too, Dad. Like that's not exclusive to AI, man.
Look at the drones in the war.
As a counter to that, though, I must say I just went to my doctor not that long ago just about stupid stuff about getting a script, and I couldn't help but think to myself the whole time I was there, can't wait till all these people are replaced by AI. I can't wait because it's just horrible. It's just like, AI can do this so much better.
They're haven't started replacing the actual doctors, but one thing they definitely have started replacing is something called a scribe. They actually have a program now called, I think it's either called Scribe or AI Scribe. I know my sister who works in the veterinary field, they use it, and it essentially takes all their notes. My personal care physician does it. He just dictates to it, and it takes all the notes for him. So that's one job that's already gone.
They've been doing that for a long time, though.
I can say almost unequivocally that within 2 to 5 years, I would say anywhere 90 to 99% of all jobs in the U.S. will be disrupted by AI.
Oh, yeah.
If not outright replaced. Certainly anything that doesn't require physical hands-on interaction with an object or a person, those will be the first to go. Any sort of secretarial, But I mean, those are at least a little more expensive than an actual AI agent, which will be fairly cheap fairly soon.
And think
the white collar is going faster. The white collar is going faster.
At the end of the day, I personally look on AI replacing jobs just the same as like the steam engine replacing jobs,
Yeah.
Because back then they used to have a whole like section of people called the Luddites, right? And the Luddites hated the steam engine for much the same reason people hate AI now. They're thinking it's going to like make people broke and send them into poverty and stuff. And like AI might do that. I'm not an expert on AI, but at the end of the day, I think that all it's going to do is transition people into the other jobs, the jobs that the AI would struggle.
Going to have to. They're going to have to do something. Yeah.
I think one thing that people are surprised by, though, is that we've always assumed that the first thing AI would do would be replace the dumb jobs, do the things that But actually, the AI is going to be really good at doing some of the more intelligent jobs, some of the more creative jobs, until people finally get sick of it and yearn for actual authenticity and seeing something made by a person, which there will always be a market for.
Famous last words.
Yeah, well.
How much are we looking at right now, this AI? AI is sneaking up on us, really. We've been using AI for 30 years, and no one even notices it. It's creeping up everywhere. And the big difference between us and the Luddites and the steam engines and the technology, we have never, ever, ever in the history of the Earth had a technology that replaced the human being itself. You can have a machine that does the human being's job, portion of the job. We're going to have AIs that are smarter than humans and more agile and fast and require no downtime. They're going to literally replace us.
Yeah, it's a unique. It is definitely unlike any other technological innovation or any other, in the Industrial Revolution or the Steam Revolution, any of those. Things are definitely going to change in a drastic way. Not just jobs, but, and in some of those other instances, it affected not just jobs, too, the creation and destruction of, but even certain animals. Did you know there used to be something called a spit dog? It was literally an animal that existed before the Industrial Revolution, before the steam engines, and it was a small kind of a corgi-sized dog that would stand in a barrel and walk around to turn a spit or to turn a machine or to turn a lathe or to turn anything, and then those got replaced. But they're literally a whole breed of animal that no longer even exists because there's just no, that job doesn't exist anymore.
Wow!
So big changes are for sure coming, and no, we're not ready for them.
You can seek energy and cheaper energy, more effective. But fusion is like literally endless, infinite quantities of energy to the entire Earth.
That's the dream.
And that happens.
That's the dream that they keep saying is right around the corner. And now they got the thorium reactors, which is that's slightly promising.
Both reactors.
I mean, the idea of smaller reactors has always intrigued me, and it seems the logical way to go. I mean, why do they have to be so big? They're on submarines. Clearly, we can make them small.
And what is that stuff they supposedly getting from the moon that they can run in reactors?
Is that thorium?
No, there's some other thing.
It's helium-3.
I'm sorry?
Helium-3 is the stuff they're getting from the moon. They can run the reactor.
Yeah, I think the Chinese are starting to try to mine stuff from the moon that they run in reactors. I don't think it's thorium, though. I think it's something else, but I forget. I talked to you about this a year ago.
Are we muted?
HE3.
Can y'all fellas hear us okay?
Yes.
Yeah, because we've been saying helium-3 for a good minute now.
I'm sorry. We were all talking at the same time. So, I didn't catch you. Helium-3, you say.
I think that is what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because it doesn't exist on Earth very much, right?
Not in as much quantity as we have it on the moon.
Right.
But you got to go... Right? So
I heard the great frontier is mining different things from all of the asteroids.
Asteroids and the moon.
Because the asteroids have all sorts of things that we do not have here in quantity on Earth.
Yep.
And use that technology to divert the collision.
Right.
So it's a twofold. So anyone who can do that will become a trillionaire, and we're going to have to beg that trillionaire to divert that asteroid from hitting us. So
it does make you wonder, though, about precious metals, especially let's say we find an asteroid, made entirely of gold and manage to mine it. The influx of that much of that precious mineral, doesn't that devalue the gold that's already here? It seems like it would have a devastating effect financially, as lucrative as it sounds, to get all those resources. And obviously they can be used to make things, but as far as just the value of them, it seems like as soon as that value enters the market, it kind of screws up everything else.
That's like saying mining gold devalues it. But
mining gold, but there is a finite amount of gold on Earth.
Sure.
Yeah, that quantity would disrupt.
But we were bringing it from space.
It would behoove them to introduce it gradually and slowly so that they can get the value out of it.
Yes.
Although they wouldn't dump it on the market themselves.
Yes, just like they do with diamonds.
Unless you found 2 or 3 gold nuggets out there and they were competing for market share, then you get an issue. Then they'd have to become, they would have to release the gold in a certain way as to maximize the profits from each. Yeah, it's complicated, but it's coming.
Right. Who's that old guy with the beard that goes on Rogan? Is it Carlson something? He's the old guy that he talks about the younger Dryas thing all the time. But anyway, he was talking about the other day about the fact that the moon has apparently a bunch of caves and places that if we were to possibly somehow colonize it, there would be a lot of good places to hide from any kind of planetary effect, cataclysm or something like that. Which got me thinking, the theory that the moon is hollow, but I think the moon is probably just like Swiss cheese. I think the whole moon is probably just like a big, just got caves and holes that run all the way through it.
I mean, if it's solid, it probably has subterranean chambers just like Earth does.
Well, it doesn't have the gravity.
Well, when you think about it, it's got no atmosphere. It's been barraged by meteorites. So there are definitely deep, deep holes in it, right?
Oh,
there must be.
Yeah,
it makes sense. I mean, but they're always talking about Earth having a second layer inside. There's a whole civilization inside the Earth that we're unaware of. Who knows?
Silurians.
That stuff. That's crazy.
Aliens living under the oceans, all that kind of stuff. But the moon makes sense, actually, that since it's basically a meteorite magnet. They say that if it wasn't for Jupiter, Earth would be doomed because Jupiter is the catching mitt for all of the Earth's large objects that were about to hit the Earth, but the Jupiter's so huge and gravitational that it sucks them in. So it's like literally protecting us.
Yes,
like Zeus would.
Something like that, yeah.
There you go. Ties it right back into the religion. We should all worship the moon because without it, we're screwed.
And it would make sense too if we did to colonize the moon to build or to do it subterraneously because it would help with the radiation shielding too, the surface, not just from impacts but just from the rawness of space.
Now here's an interesting topic. Do you guys think we went to the moon?
I mean,
I've been deep down this rabbit hole. I go down every rabbit hole I find. I've been deep into this one because I looked for the evidence, and the evidence I found was very, very iffy. They said, well, we brought back material from the moon, and that's when we found out that it's derived from Earth itself. Right. And they're like, what? Why would the moon rocks be Earth? Earth came from the Earth. Right. So they found out that the moon was once a chunk of the Earth. They think that maybe, I think Venus struck the Earth and it split it in two. So the moon is of the Earth.
Could be.
That's right.
Here's my theory. Here's my theory. I think we definitely sent machinery to the moon that scooped up some rocks and came back, but I don't think any men went to the moon. I think that was all propaganda. Because when you think about it, why? Why would you bother sending guys when you can just lie about it?
That's like when anytime Elon Musk talks about sending people to the moon, I'm like, that's murderous. That's villainous. You don't not send people. You send machines. You don't send monkeys. Send machines. Machines will be happy to go to Mars. Machines will be happy to go to the moon. Sending a human being to the moon is like a little bit insane.
Sending a machine is so much more logical.
Yeah, it is.
Chances are, if this was like the 1800s and we were talking about colonizing America, there would be people like that talking about, oh, don't do it. It's not worth it. Just send machines.
Just send it. Just send the slaves. Don't send any.
They probably would have sent machines if they had any. They could have done it then.
I also read all about the radiation between the Van Allen belts, I believe it is. The radiation would kill people. I've never seen evidence that wouldn't happen, but I've also seen evidence that the films that they made of the moon are just not possible to fake. Stanley Kubrick could not have made films that good. Yeah. I forget the evidence there. It's like almost irrefutable what I learned there.
Let's not forget too, the space race was between. This is going to be very relevant in a couple seconds. But the space race was between the Americans and the Soviets, and the Americans won. So if the Soviets had a chance to disprove the Americans, they would have freaking taken it.
And they did not. They actually, the Chinese and
the Russians have been saying for a long time we didn't go to the moon. They've been like, they've been trying to say we haven't been to the moon for a long time. So who knows? Who knows? I don't know.
It's all a bunch of conspiracy bullcrap, though. I'm saying we went there.
Yes, I think we did go there. The evidence
I think that we did as well.
I finally came to the conclusion that we probably went to the moon. I'm absolutely certain that the Earth is round.
I'm pretty sure about that one. I think gravity is a thing. But let me ask you this. You think the guys went to the moon because of the film, you're saying?
Yeah, oddly enough, the one cinching for me, well, there's a laser the laser system that proves that we went to the room, they shoot a laser and it bounces off the machinery up there. The people that own that are part of the conspiracy. That made me wonder too. I'm like, why don't you show the world? Why don't you let the world hold on to the laser and we can prove it to ourselves that we went to the moon? They're like, nope, nobody can touch us. I'm like, that just perpetuates the conspiracy. That was really weird that they let other people do it. But now the final clinch pin for me was the filming. If you look into the film, that it proved to me without a doubt that it had to have been done on the moon, blah, 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 blah. That was the one thing. Also, the conspiracy of that many people, there's just so many people were involved. You'd have to keep wraps on every single person.
That's
conspiracy
true.
Of that
I agree. I heard a pretty compelling theory about the Stanley Kubrick connection as well, because apparently, from what I heard, is that Kubrick had in his possession either some lenses or some cameras that were owned or invented by NASA. And then, the big conspiracy is, well, why would he have these? And the compelling argument that I heard, and it made a lot of sense to me, was that even if the films were real and we really did go to the moon, we probably would have practiced filming it first to make sure we got it right. Yeah. And who would you go to other than this guy that did 2001? Like it all makes sense. There's a pretty
well, and they definitely filmed a lot of stuff.
They filmed moon landings on the Earth. That's a fact. That found a lot of people. They definitely filmed. They practiced filming on Earth, and they practiced all sorts of things on Earth. That makes people say, like, what?
Yeah, and that makes so much sense. Why would you want to not take the chance? You want to practice that. Yeah. You're probably only going to get one shot at the real thing.
That's also some of the thing that propagates the conspiracy.
3 days in the freaking rocket ship, only to find out that your camera doesn't work. Now I'll be so pissed for that like that.
Yeah, hopefully they had backups.
But there's an awful lot of conspiracies holes you go down, and they turn out to be about the conspiracy. There's no such thing as conspiracy, because everything on Earth, we are conspiring.
Yeah,
all four of us are currently. We're not
they're not conspiracy theories. They're just theories.
Well, of course, you know how the conspiracy theory term was even invented was because of the JFK thing, which has now been proved to be a conspiracy. So you can take the theory right out of there. It's just all a conspiracy.
This is a classic comment. I hate to say it, but when 9/11 occurred, and my mother said, first person I talked to was my mother, and she said something like, "Damn the president, damn Bush, they succeeded, they did it." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Who do you think took down and who would think would have the power to do this?" And she was convinced that George Bush had something to do with it. Anyway, I'm like, "What? That's insane talk. That's crazy talk." Yeah. So ever since I've been studying magic, and I've been studying, they can make the Statue of Liberty appear to disappear. The classic con man thing to do is to accuse others of what you're about to do.
Projecting.
So, election fraud, and then you commit election fraud. And you're like, "What are you talking about, election fraud? What are you talking about? You're the one who committed the election fraud, not us." Right. It's classic classman. That's the first thing you learn is to accuse others of what you're about to do yourself.
Yeah. We instantly transitioned from 9/11 conspiracy theories to a very sane and credible theory that there was election fraud in 2024. That's how being with that is, man.
I'm just saying that's what con men do. That's classic.
That is what con men do.
Yeah, they make it seem like it's absurd, and then they do it.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with people that are staunchly anti-conspiracy, in other words, people that just basically don't want to hear about any of them, is that if you look at the history of this country, there's too many recorded instances of where we absolutely have done shady shit. And to say to yourself, well, yes, that's true, but surely we don't do that anymore. Why would you think that? What would the logic be behind that the things that we did that were shady that worked so well that now we just don't do them? Why? They worked so well. Why wouldn't we keep doing them? Of course we do.
I went so deep down. I'm sorry I interrupt you guys all the time, but I went so deep down the rabbit hole that I basically came to the conclusion that it is all completely and utterly corrupt, and it's all propaganda from different angles. That's all it is. Everything's corrupt. If the Boy Scouts, even Boy Scouts, who's the troop leader? The father is the troop leader. The son is the troop leader. Baseball.
That's not how it
baseball.
works.
Who pitches in baseball? The coach's son. The whole
That's not how.
That's America.
That's
America.
not how it works.
Bottom, it's corrupt. It's so corrupt. I mean, they talk about it in The Godfather, him going into politics. Politics is rife with corruption. I call it ubiquitous corruption. Everywhere, happening everywhere at once.
I mean, there's corruption and nepotism.
I think that is very
nepotism. It's cronyism. kleptocracy. It's it's legalized. They send the lobbyists to write the laws themselves. That's a fact. The lobbyists write the laws for the congressmen. Who hire the lobbyists? The
corporations.
Often by for the corporations.
I hate corporations. I hate those big outlaws.
Well, you got to hate the right corporations. Not all corporations are bad. I agree that any corporation that gets too big is inherently bad.
The problem is that the concept of a corporation, the fact that they are legally required to seek a greater profit every quarter upon quarter for their shareholders literally mean there's no such thing as saying we made a profit. Let's continue to make this profit. That's not a corporate mindset. That doesn't exist. Right. And there's no way to sustain that kind of uncontrolled growth.
And there's no acknowledgement of the greater good of mankind. Never.
At the end of the day, the corporation ideology, like keep growing bigger, keep expanding, consume anything that gets in your way, like that's the ideology of the cancer cell. Like that's the ideology that like gets people killed. Corporations and cancer cells.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, bro.
The thing that really bothers me is a lot of people have the same attitude as you, but the concept they'd seem to be completely missing is, all right, you don't like corporations, stop giving them money. Stop giving them your money. If you don't like them, don't give them your money. And you have people go,
so hard to not purchase things made by corporations. I mean, like Joe said, unless you want to become a Luddite, or
it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Look,
I'm trying to grow our own food. I'm desperately trying to grow our own food.
I may speak my piece here. I think that the corporations have become so deeply entrenched into society that we have now that the real way to fight the corporations is to fight for like total reform into society, Like maybe we don't like start a revolution and burn down the Bastille. I'm not in favor of that. But at the end of the day, we definitely got to like have some sort of a reform in the country because it's not going right now. It's really not.
The corruption is systemic. It's designed. It's been designed through legislation. It's been legalized and systemic. You can take, they can take bribes. Bribery has been made legal. Citizens United is an abomination.
Lobbying. It's called lobbying now.
Well, a lot of corruption and nepotism in general that we talked about before is it's built into human nature. I mean, the reason the firstborn son has inherited. I mean, it's the whole reason why the Catholic Church made it so that priests couldn't marry, so that they wouldn't be able to pass off any of their earnings that they had accrued throughout their lifetime to any of their children. They wanted the church to get it all. So wanting your children to succeed and setting them up for success and giving what you can to them, that's only human nature, and that's certainly never going to go away.
And you want to know how upside down our society is right now. I just watched a podcast yesterday or the day before. This guy Michael Barnero or something. He's a local dude, but he was this person or kid, young adult, had inherited a house and couldn't afford it.
Couldn't afford the taxes,
I guess, or the payments or mortgage or whatever. Like and on the same breath, they'll say, "Oh, the dream of owning a home is out of reach for young people." It's like if somebody's giving you a house and you still can't afford it, there's definitely a problem there. I mean, it's bad. I mean, if you can't,
if I may, that transitions into another problem I was thinking of. Tell me how. Like the corporations and the billionaires are owning so many houses. Well, like you said, the dream of home ownership is out of reach for
I can tell you why. Because for the last few years, being a landlord was really profitable. Now, unfortunately for those same corporations, the next few years, not so much. If you look now, they're all trying to unload a lot of the houses they got, which is, trust me, if you're looking to buy a house, the next couple of years, it's going to be great.
The idea and principle of a corporation inherently is not a horrible idea. The two main problems are, as we previously stated, it's the fact that they legally have to seek a higher profit margin every single quarter.
Well, they don't legally have to.
No, they do. That's what their job is to create a profit for their shareholders.
Yeah, but if they don't create a profit, they don't get it prosecuted or anything.
Well, no, but then they do lose their position. But the other problem is the discrepancy. Right. The discrepancy between the CEO and the actual worker, that gap that has grown to now 400 to 500. Is any man truly worth 400% more than the other? Like, that's just an astonishing change.
Yeah, I'm going to take the bullet on this one. I just technology does not work around me. That's why I don't really.
In your
mess with it.
defense, I didn't see you touch anything. So if you're emanating some sort of gremlin field, I can't help that.
I've literally been driving down the street and had streetlights clip off as I go by.
You didn't touch anything. Oh, that's nice.
Right?
I've had a lot of times I'll have light bulbs blow out when I turn the lights on and off.
Well, that's when they always blow out.
Yeah, so I guess that doesn't really.
Yeah,
count.
that doesn't.
Pretty frequently though.
But yeah, for some reason, stuff around me, I must put out some kind of weird electromagnetical signal or something.
Gremlins.
I'm telling you.
That's what Bugs Bunny called them. Military called them.
I should literally be like a product tester. Like if you have an electronic product,
Right.
put it around me for a couple of weeks.
Just carry it. Just carry it in your pocket.
Yeah, if it still works after a couple of weeks, it's definitely it's a quality product.
We definitely enjoyed having both James and Jeff on the pod. It
that was
was our
great.
first attempt and usage of the Zoom feature there.
We encourage more
We had
people.
some
Once we
difficulties.
get this up and running on a live basis, we'll have you guys zooming in all the time.
We'll have to reach out and get some more, so I can put some links in the description for their material.
And again, we got to get you moved down here. So if anybody out there's got a place for sale or rent, let us know.
Yeah.
It is getting to that time where the real estate market is turning. So if you're desperate to sell, I have cash. Which is funny. I wanted to talk to James about that. He was talking about selling mortgages. I'm like, I'll buy a mortgage. What do you got? All right, guys. So like and subscribe, share,
Subscribe.
comment. We need comments. I literally looked at all our pages and there's like no comments. By the way, did you ever figure out how to read any comments on Rumble?
No.
We gotta
I still
figure that
have not.
out.
I'm not even sure if we have any.
Well, I think I saw one, but I didn't. I mean, you as admin should be able to read them.
Yeah, no,
So-
I've not seen any.
We got to
so
figure
I
that
haven't
out.
Tried to look for them.
But anyway, till next time, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yep, thanks.